So, Elizabeth Warren has decided to come out with a plan in the coming days that she says is going to allow her to explain how she's going to pay for her Medicare for All plan. Now, this is going to be interesting because she's apparently going to do some kind of math that illustrates she's not going to be raising taxes on the middle class, while at the same time still managing to get the policy proposals that Bernie Sanders, who is essentially utilizing the same platform, has said that middle class taxes are going to go up. Now, this is going to either make or break her candidacy for the Democratic nomination. She's either going to come out with some kind of proposal that explicitly states that no, taxes aren't going to be raised. We're either going to cut spending elsewhere. We're going to raise taxes to such a massive degree that it's going to be affordable because we're not going to have the middle class in there. Or she's going to have a policy proposal that has a bizarre definition for the middle class that, exempts some Americans and in turn allows, taxes to go up on the growing upper middle class of the country, and ergo, she's fine, and she's being duplicitous as usual. Now, I'm not going to be surprised if either way is going to be the case, because it illustrates that Elizabeth Warren is going down a path that she cannot backtrack from. Elizabeth Warren is now taking the positions of her progressive counterparts like Bernie Sanders and those in the House of Representatives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others that are in the growing progressive radical wing of the Democratic Party. Now, she's doing it in a more folksy, Midwestern, middle of the country, I'm originally from Oklahoma kind of tune. But I don't think that this is going to bode well for her with voters. Particularly because Elizabeth Warren has now a very long history of being seen as duplicitous, as being seen as a liar, constantly changing the narrative so she's always the victim, and not that she has been living life on a silver platter because she lied about her, her ethnicity, her ethnic background, and utilized that to create a career both in law and in education for the last 35 years before becoming a United States Senator, while at the same time being a biggest proponent of a policy institution of the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau, which has done very little good in the American economy and supporting financial regulation policies that have only benefited some of the largest banks in the country, especially towards investment banking. If you take a look at every single financial regulation piece of legislation that Elizabeth Warren has supported, and all of those that have ended up becoming law have led to the direct growth of these larger banks and of these institutions. She is seen as both a hypocrite and a liar, and I think that all of this idea of her going forward on this proposal of how she's going to pay for this without necessarily raising middle-class taxes is going to make or break her candidacy. Now, she's going to be called out on the debate stage if someone does the math and realizes, middle-class taxes will go up. And they'll call her out for being a liar, because in the fourth Democratic presidential debate, everyone went after her, and she had to say time and time and time again that no, middle-class taxes won't go up. We're not raising taxes on the middle class. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, the fact that Elizabeth Warren repeated herself like that tells me a few things. One, that she hasn't really thought out her proposal. She's more of an ideologue than she is really a policy wonk. And that despite her positions and opinions and her great transcendence from someone from the right to a moderate Democrat to now this progressive is very much a fake. It's very much a show. And I think that tells us that she's in for a rough time if she's going to be the Democratic nominee. But if she is, oh God, I cannot wait to see how the attack ads go. When Trump is raising millions and millions of dollars and has a war chest larger than I think what the top 5 Democratic candidates combined, and more than what the DNC has on cash on hand, I think that really tells us that Elizabeth Warren is in for one bumpy road once the campaign gets negative. But at the same time, she may not even make it past the primary if she manages to come out with her plan and the rest of the moderates come out and realize, oh crap, Elizabeth Warren's plan doesn't work out, she's a liar. But it's funny because the Dems haven't hit her on her ethnicity. Despite, hemorrhaging these candidates that advocate for identity politics, Buttigieg is like, well, I'm a Midwestern religious kind of guy, and Amy Klobuchar telling us that, she represents the working class, or Julian Castro saying that he's the brown candidate, Cory Booker always saying that, he's from the hood, despite having one of the most privileged upbringings and lives in his political career and not necessarily doing anything. I'm surprised that no one's hit her after for her, Pocahontas issues. They just call Trump's attacks on her racist. But when, what was it? She was in an interview not too long ago, and someone said that she was the original Rachel Dolezal, and she just had this deer in the headlights look on her face. Good God, that was just rich. And I think that really just tells us that Elizabeth Warren is, she's banking on this proposal to illustrate that she's, she can pay for it, that she's a woman of her word, despite having a 35-year plus track record of her not necessarily doing so. But we'll see what happens when she releases this proposal. I'll do a breakdown of the proposal and when it comes out. Because I guarantee you that she's either going to have some sort of warped definition of what the middle class is, or she's going to have wealth taxes and taxes on Wall Street transactions and estate taxes that will pretty much do the same thing that Senator Sanders wants to do and tax billionaires out of existence. So that's about all. I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned. I have more videos coming up soon.